James, welcome back now to 10 Minutes with James Fitzgerald. We are episode 2. It's pretty exciting here. And you're eating bacon. That's tough, man.
Sponsored by bacon today. Product placement.
Product placement. Awesome. So if we reflect back to our first episode, we talked pretty succinctly about kind of that term athlete. And I think it has sort of a loaded component to it. And I think there was really great clarity on that. So now I want to sort of flip the gears a little bit and think in terms of the gazillion gyms that are out there from micro to macro, and terms like, health and fitness, and, we're going to get you strong, and, we're training and competing, and all these terms sort of get thrown around, and everyone ends up using sort of the same shoveled phrases. And I guess I'd like to just talk a little bit about where you see certain things intersecting and where you see some of those terms potentially at conflict with one another.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll get to the dissection or conflict, but
Sure.
And please lead me if we want to, go in that direction. If you have a different idea that's going to drum up some of those thoughts, because I think I know where we want to discuss it. But it's reality today with the ad and marketing push to kind of get, just to get trainers and facilities to be like, hey, I'm over here, because a long time ago you didn't need to do that, and so today you need to do that. So you gotta, it's all the talk on the hustle and like getting out there and getting in front of people, and how are you going to be unique and how are you going to be differentiated? And I think we need to continue to ask the question, why do you need to be unique, and why do you need to be differentiated, and why do you need to get out there? And there are some answers to that, but you didn't need to do that, right? Because there was lots of people who needed fitness, and there was professionals that are going to take care of them. But today, there's like an immense amount of people with the answer to fitness, including Google. And so there's just a massive push, Michael. So what they're trying to do, the purveyors of this message, is really just get in front. They're trying to say, with whatever key terms are correct, come on over here. This is what you're looking for. OPEX is more boutique, where we have a message where we want perfect alignment right from the get-go. So we want more of a conscious user in fitness in our gyms, people that have kind of played in fitness or kind of investigating it and are just going like this for a second. It's like, let me think about that for a second now. Like, why are they trying to pull me into a competitive atmosphere? So that's what we want with our messaging, is to push that out as an example, right? This is not to say that at one point or throughout time we have not pushed a specific message just to be like, hey, we're over here, and then have to transform that brain on the inside. But that's very time consuming. If you have a big, high production system with high churn, high turnover, that's okay. But it's going to burn out over time. If you're like, hey, come on in, we do this, it's so exciting. Then you get them inside. It's like, well, we kind of don't do that for 9 months. It gets kind of burnt out. And then by the end of it, you're like, you know what? I'm going to get this new coach to handle your questions on those things, and they'll scale stuff for you. Right. And now the coach is like, what? Later, 6 a.m. class, you're killing it. Take a picture, Instagram that on the way out. Like the IKEA commercial. Get out of here. I don't know how we went in that direction. But that's why those are thrown around, Michael. It's really just to get out in front, so speaking a language where I just envision, people are out there just drinking their sugar and being unconscious, and just going through their day, and then this like beep, it's like boom, they saw something, right? Facebook, something up on the board, someone running by with nice arms, it's like something just got them, right? And that person has their own, perceptions and their own thoughts on what they think they need to do in order to level up in life. And that's where the prey happens, and the misalignment of those words come in, because that, the person in fitness is going, you can be someone, or you can be that athlete, and then that's what gets that person who's in that unconscious state to like, bloop, sometimes that can turn out to be good, but that's why those terms are thrown around.
Well, and boy, you said the word conscious user, and we're going to come back to that because I was thinking about, like the global gym models of like, everybody's like, hey, January, woo, and then just, by the way, psst, don't come anymore, stay home, versus I would say, the OPEX model and that boutique approach, which I can relate with my facility. let's ruminate a little bit on that conscious user piece, because I think that's really important, because while I understand the scramble and I understand the need, and we all have, leases and mortgages and things to pay for, in the end, that client, boy, that's the client. I mean, if the model is looking for that. And can you talk a little bit more about that? What does that mean? And how do we differentiate, or what are the differentiators of what makes that person more viable to a boutique environment or like an OPEX perspective?
Because they're going to be faced with some challenges, right? And they're going to be faced with the truth, and they're going to be faced with where they currently sit. And there's honesty inside, there's integrity, and there's relationships that are built. And although that seems pretty simple, if you're faced with the truth on what your true capabilities are, and you're going to meet someone who's going to challenge you to grow, both in emotion and physical well-being, not everyone wants that. Not everyone wants that. So that's why we, put that message out, that, it's an inspired life through fitness. It's through fitness, right? It's not inspired life because of fitness, right? It's not, fitness is the answer, or, you got to do fitness, it's not that. It's like, you want to live the largest life possible. And how are you going to do that? Well, it's going to be at our gym, that's going to be here. So we do that just for this alignment. Now, we have, or I have, remember back in the day, done it differently for indirect purposes, but it really is just a time thing too, Michael, is that maybe 15 years ago, you didn't need to necessarily have an indirect, let's call it a false message in order to get people in front of you. You didn't. But today, some people choose to, and it's admirable as well. And global gyms fall inside that they have to fight that fight, right? They got to actually get out there and create false prophecies on what they're going to honor. And like your point at, they sign up in January and they ask questions. So what programs are in September? They're like, don't worry about it. You're not going to be here anyway.
You're not going to be here.
Yeah. But I got you for 5 years,
Right.
So I think that they have to do that because they're just trying to make a push on making people more active, just kind of get people moving and get them active. But, and the reason why I'm saying that is that I'm just too old to fight that fight anymore. Like I just don't want coaches going through it. You know what I mean? You could do this whole big, everyone in and everyone get moving and it's all, and you'll just get tired because there's way too many systems that are working against you. Right. Way too much communication getting thrown in front of that person's eyes. You take 3 hours to transform a mind, right? And they're all in and they haven't signed up, but they're all in. They're like, oh my God, this is the answer. And you're making me so conscious of my fitness. And they're like, okay, we'll come back tomorrow. We'll do assessment. And then that night, by the time they get home, they hear something on CNN, and they read something on Facebook, and then they have a behavior that wasn't changed that, punches them again. And then they make a decision later in the day. You know what I'm saying? And then they get called tomorrow morning. It's like, you know what? I don't think it's necessarily such a good idea. So that's what I'm saying. When you do that enough times, you can't control what people do when they leave in front of you. And there's so much chaos and confusion out there now that we just basically have come to the point where we're not gonna even be concerned about that. We're just going to go after that user who really wants to be challenged. And does that make sense? It's not right or wrong. It's just we just don't want to waste our time with having no control over all those things because it gets really challenging for the coach.
Well, and what's so interesting about our format here, this is our second episode, and I'm just thinking as you're talking, I'm thinking of we had the pleasure when we were doing our previous conversations to sort of know our audience a little bit more. And this is a much broader audience. There could be people out there that could be coaches at large facilities, could be owners of huge, there could be things that we're commenting on and referring to that I think if somebody's not familiar with the OPEX perspective and model and understanding what that's about, there could be a lot of things that we're saying that could get lost or missed. And I think that that's an important piece that if anybody's watching this and, this is why we're doing this. And, oh, by the way, hello, Eli. He always has to make an appearance. Somebody.
Yes. We'll go back and count the episodes.
We are not editing that out.
Shows up.
But I think that's a really important comment just for anybody out there who's just starting to join us and just is like, God, who are these guys talking about? And who's this James guy? Maybe they don't even know you. Like, listen to what we're talking about, but more importantly, make sure to do some due diligence and understand where we're coming from. Because I think that's so important. Because we can't do that in 10 minutes. I mean, that's
for sure. And I think if anything, it will just allow people to ask some tougher questions. And we've always had that idea of getting uncomfortable, and not just through physical means, right? You got to challenge ideas and criticize bad ones, and be okay to be criticized, with some good, let's call it, morals around it. But that's where we're gonna be speaking. So I hope it just raises some conversation for individuals.
Yeah. All right, my friend, 10 minutes in and out. Always a treat. I'm really looking forward to this. So we will be back again here and record some more and keep the conversation going. So in that interim, have a great day in beautiful sunny Phoenix, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
All right, thanks, James. We'll talk soon.